should be live now. Just got to get this set up in Discord, and then we can begin our next 2 games of Wild Card football. Alrighty, it should be set up. Just gonna check the audio, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alrighty, it should be set up.
Okay, the audio does sound good. So we can begin. What is good, Mr. Rover? I am doing pretty solid. So today we had the Saints, the Panthers, and the Raiders, and the Dolphins. Obviously, you had to force win both of these games because the Super Sim crashed because EA Sports is dumb like that. But what can you do? So, we're going to start with the Saints and the Panthers. Saints are 1, Panthers are 2. Can you give me a number between 1 and 2, please, Siri? Siri? Can you give me a number between 1 and 2? Siri, can you give me a number between 1 and 2? Jesus Christ. What? No, that's not what I want. Siri, can you give me a number between 1 and 2? What? Why doesn't it work now? Good Lord. Alright, we're going to use another. We're going to use numbergenerator.org. I know it's not Siri, but it shows 1. Alright. I think I'm already on the Saints, so that makes Saints easy. What's good, Boomy? What's good, Nick? How we doing, fellas? What's good, Crockett? Do we want to go with that really cool Saints combo? Didn't people not like it last time, though? Do we just want to rock with the regular away jerseys? Playoffs? Talking about the playoffs? Never heard of her. Damn. 3 X factors in this game, all for Carolina: Aaron Donald, J.J. Watt, and Richard Sherman. Unfortunately for the Saints, Jalen Ramsey just got hurt, so that's why he's not here. They still do have a good cornerback room featuring Darius Slay. The other superstars are Odell, Fred Warner, Brandon Scherff, Jalen Smith, Budda Baker, Micah Hyde, and K.J. Wright. Anyone want to have a joke contest? I mean, I can just pull out Lions gear out of the closet, and then that'll win it. Oh, shots fired. No, that was an awful joke. That was an awful, and I should be ashamed of myself, because that's not even funny. That's just corny. I'm not used to it taking a while to load into games anymore. I'm used to playing on next gen, where it takes like about 10 seconds to load into a game, whereas on current gen it takes, well, longer than 10 seconds. I'm not used to it being this slow. But the actual next-gen version of Madden comes out on Friday. Obviously, the OFL won't be on the next-gen version of Madden since this is still on the PlayStation 4. But, I mean, I have no expectations for what EA is going to do for us on Friday. I'm not really expecting anything. So, if there's anything positive put into franchise mode, then it is a win. What topic are we going to talk about today that has nothing to do with this game? That's a good question. Well, pineapples are yellow. There's a thing. Who's starting the ball? Looks like Carolina will. So that means we get to see one of Madden 21's Sim's favorite player, and I guess Madden Sim in general. Madden really liked him last year. And that is Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was really good in this game. I don't really know why. He's better than he is in real life. I mean, the Browns are 8-3. as Nick says, but I mean, their offense is Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, it's hard to find a team where the running back is more valuable than the quarterback, but I think the Browns show that. Like, Kareem Hunt is a borderline top 10 running back in the NFL, but I saw a statistic with and without Nick Chubb, and the difference is like a staggering difference. The Browns' offense and offense in general is like noticeably better with Nick Chubb in the lineup, which goes to show how valuable he is. Even though they have a player like Kareem Hunt, I feel like that just goes to show how good the elite running backs make their teams. Because Nick Chubb is in that tier 1 of truly elite. Kareem Hunt is not. Kareem Hunt's a very good back, and he'd be an upgrade for at least half of the teams in the league, including us, although I love me some DeAndre Swift. But, I mean, Nick Chubb is so darn good. Did the Steelers win this week? The Steelers did not win, nor did they lose. They play tomorrow against Baltimore, because that game keeps getting pushed back. At first, I was on the side of the Ravens because, yeah, they're dealing with an outbreak. The Steelers shouldn't be complaining about it. But the more I think about it, I mean, I feel like they are kind of trying to help the Ravens a little bit. The NFL has pretty much said that they're not going to postpone games for competitive reasons. They didn't do that with Denver. Denver had all their quarterbacks go out 24 hours before a game and had to start a practice squad, a wide receiver, who obviously, as expected, did not do very well. Actually, did worse than expected. So, letting the Ravens practice today, I feel like they postponed it from today to tomorrow for a competitive advantage. Not that Baltimore is the better team, and not that Baltimore has an advantage, because Lamar Jackson, along with like 16 other players, are out with the virus. So, I mean, the Steelers certainly had the advantage, but... And Baltimore has not practiced for a week and a half. This is their first practice, I think, I heard, since before the Titans game, which was their game last week. So Baltimore is probably still going to lose, but I think the NFL is trying to help them. Which is odd, because it's not like the Steelers are just some low-market team. It's not like the Steelers are, I don't know, like the Jaguars or anything. The Steelers are a big-market team and one of the more popular teams in the league. Ravens are as well, but I don't know why they're hurting the Steelers of all teams. That's a weird team to do it. They should I don't think they should forfeit. I don't think that's fair to either team. And that's not fair to everybody else in the AFC. Because, I mean, you have a team like the Chiefs who's right next to the Steelers. If the Steelers are handed a 3-win, that goes against the Chiefs, who are still a game behind them. And in a year where there's only one first-round bye per conference, if that game determines the number 1 seed, that'd be a major disadvantage for a team like the Chiefs. Oh, right, the 16-0 seed. I don't think they're going to go 16-0. They're a great team. I think they're probably right now the second-best team in the league behind KC, but I think it's more likely the Jets go 0-16, and I think now this is like the first time that I actually think the Jets have a legit shot of going 0-16. I didn't think they were, but now at 0-11, it's harder to win games than it is to lose, especially if the Steelers aren't playing for much. Oh my, what a play by Carolina did, too. Who is that? 87, Devin Duvernay. Devin Duvernay, what a guy. Carolina is going to... I imagine I picked the Panthers today. What is good, Colin? Welcome, my guy. My guy. I expect to see J.K. Dobbins get the football on this play. Oh, another reason why, speaking of J.K. Dobbins, now that I say that, another reason why they could have pushed it back from Tuesday to Wednesday is now Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins are eligible to play. They would not have been eligible to play today, but they are able to play tomorrow. So, kind of ironic. As Dobbins does not get the touchdown, it's Odell. They're going to review it. I think he was in. Although it was close, I do want to get another look at it, but... Yeah, he's definitely... He even had the knee down. He's in. That's a touchdown. They cannot overturn that. And the call stands. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely the right call. Odell was in. So Carolina opens up with a touchdown, and they now have the lead. Hold on, fellas. I'm just doing something for today's video. That's why I haven't seen the chat in like the past 2 minutes. So don't be alarmed.
The Saints take over 1st and 10 at their own
20. If the Steelers and the Browns are actually a game apart from each other in the division, can you imagine how pissed Cleveland would be? And now, if the Steelers got the win and the Ravens had to forfeit, this would be good for the Browns because now they advance their lead by 2 games on Baltimore. I saw something today that was talking about the possible wild card situation in the AFC, because realistically, if everybody who holds, let's say the Titans, the Bills, the Steelers, and the Chiefs win their divisions. Now there's 5 teams competing for wild cards? The Colts, the Browns, the Raiders, the Dolphins, and the Ravens. That's 5. I saw that the Browns have favorable tiebreaker odds. The Steelers. The Ravens don't, and I don't know about the other 3 teams. So Baltimore kind of has to pick up the pace a little bit, or else they actually have a legit shot at missing the playoffs. Especially if you lose 11 in a row and have absolutely no momentum. What's good, big winner? If the Steelers lose to the Ravens, Roger Goodell is getting sued. If the Steelers lose tomorrow, people are... I don't know if Roger Goodell is the one who makes that decision or if it's somebody else in, the executive offices or whatever. I don't know. But whoever makes that decision is... And I guess Roger Goodell as well, because he would be guilty by association. And people will just assume that he's the one deciding all of this. But, I mean, yeah, everyone would all be pissed. And I wouldn't blame them either. If Eric Ebron complained on Twitter, I would not disagree with it, unless he said something stupid, which, knowing Eric Ebron, is very possible. But what is coming out today? Westlake premiering. That's why I'm setting stuff up now, because it's premiering. Jimmy G. Jimmy G is actually good here. Unlike in real life, he's had a fall from grace almost in real life. And now there's a good shot the Niners pick a quarterback in the first round, depending on where they land. Niners can still make the playoffs. I think they're only 1 game behind Arizona. Niners and the Vikings, I think, are only 1 game back. Not that Minnesota's all that special. I mean, Kirk Cousins isn't any good. Whoa! I wasn't looking at the screen. J.K. Dobbins with a 42-yard touchdown. So a hot start here for Carolina. Loonies and Toonies are better than the Bills. Browns, Titans, / Colts. I think the Titans are better, so for hypothetical purposes, I'm just saying the Colts. Dolphins, Raiders, and Ravens could also throw the Pats as well. I mean, they're just way too inconsistent. What are they now, 5 and 6? I mean, they're not out of a race, and no, you cannot count out New England until they are eliminated. But I just can't see it. What would this be? The first time since 2008 that they missed the playoffs, and that was when Brady was hurt. They still went 11 and 5 that year. I think Matt Castle at quarterback. Well, I mean, the AFC is certainly competitive. I'd say the AFC is probably better than the NFC. In the NFC, there's no clear favorite. I think the Chiefs would, on paper, easily... I mean, the Chiefs are the best team of the league, so by default, they're better than anybody in the NFC. I think the Steelers as well are better than anybody in the NFC, too. Jimmy Garoppolo has 0 completions. That's the same amount of points the Saints have. He has 2 incompletions. That's the same amount of touchdowns Carolina has. And now my statement I just said is totally irrelevant because he completed a pass. For the first time since 2007, you're not finishing under 500. That's kind of sad. That's kind of sad. As speaking of sad, whoever that tight end is, he just dropped the football. That's some Marquez Valdez-Scantling type stuff right there. I enjoy having Marquez Valdez-Scantling in my division. I do.
The Panthers take over 1st and 10 at their own 21-yard line.
Panthers can make this a 3-score game here in the first quarter. I think Carolina's the better team, but I was not expecting them to blow out the Saints at all. Glad he traded Watt before he could make that big brain head mistake as he got hit by the football and was standing still. EA Sports in a nutshell. Baker is sacked by Akeem Hicks, the former Saint. He is back in New Orleans. Akeem Hicks was with the Saints, right? Hold on. I'm Googling this because I want to make sure that I'm right. Before he was with the Bears, I could have sworn he was with the Saints. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to cry. Yeah, he was with the Saints. Then he was with the Patriots for a year. I did not know that. Huh. Akeem Hicks played for New England. I never knew that. Thanks, Wikipedia.
That's the end of the
First quarter in the books. Carolina looking good.
Saints, nothing.
Didn't I pick Carolina to make the Super Bowl? Off started. I think I did. I could be wrong about that. Hold on, I don't remember who I picked. I know I didn't pick us, I'll tell you that. 3rd and 16, they might actually get it. Not quite. He almost did, though. Alright, let me see these playoff predictions real quick.
A 14-yard gain. It's 4th down.
I picked the Cougars to beat the Panthers. Okay, so I had the Panthers making it, but losing to Chicago.
In punt formation. The Saints take over 1st and 10 at their own 25-yard line.
Do you guys think that Nick Chubb should get MVP votes? Well, MVP stands for most valuable player. And Nick Chubb has been so valuable to that offense. Therefore, even though he's missed games, if he gets MVP votes, I am not going to disagree with that. I mean, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, they're the most dominant running backs in the league. But Nick Chubb is in that same tier as them. Now, I mean, Carolina's offense has not been that much worse without McCaffrey. And Kareem Hunt is certainly better than Mike Davis, which is odd. When the Browns have Nick Chubb, their offense sucks. And when they have Nick Chubb, their offense is really good. Carolina's offense was not that totally different without McCaffrey, which is certainly interesting. The Titans without Derrick Henry would probably be awful. So, I guess there's that. I mean, Ryan Tannehill is a fine player, but without Derrick Henry, that offense is way worse. And then without Dalvin Cook, I don't know, I mean, Tannehill was certainly better than Kirk Cousins, easily. Easily. But, I don't know, if Nick Chubb gets MVP votes, I'm not going to disagree. Madden, you're so bad. You let your players get hit in the back when standing still. How was your 0-16 a few years ago? It's unfortunate because that's the year you don't want to get 0-16 because there is no clear #1 pick. Like, this year is a good year to go 0-16 because you get Trevor Lawrence. But that year, there was no clear pick. They picked Baker, which obviously I laughed at the time very much. And looking at it now, yeah, I don't know if that's a great pick. Lamar Jackson is an MVP. Josh Allen looks like a star. Shout out to Brian Daboll. Hopefully he is coaching in the state of Michigan next year and not for the Wolverines. But I saw something on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, that said it's increasingly likely that the Browns don't accept Baker's 5th-year option. And now, that made me think, like, now that we're in this stage of Baker's career, do the Browns want to pay him? And if so, how much does he get paid? That's really interesting because the other first-round quarterbacks in that draft, we kind of know what they're going to do. Lamar's going to get paid, probably. Josh Allen's going to get paid. Rosen kind of sucks. Sam Darnold is going to get traded somewhere. Bears, hopefully not. Colts, maybe. But what about Baker? Baker's an odd one. 3-7 to the 9-5 Texans, right? What? I'm confused. I'm confusion. Baker could have been worse. It could have been Anthony Bennett. Don't disrespect Anthony Bennett in here. We want to know Anthony Bennett. Aren't you Canadian anyway, Boomy? You should not be Slandering your fellow Canadian. But I really wonder what Baker's career of these next couple of years is going to look like. And in 2 years from now, will he be the Browns' starting quarterback? And if not, what do the Browns do at quarterback? It's not like Baker. He's not horrible by any means. I mean, he's a starting caliber quarterback. But if that team wants to win a Super Bowl, and I think they have the young core to potentially do so, do you think Baker can lead you to a Super Bowl? Right now, my answer is no. Now, in January and February, you need good defense and a good run game. The Browns certainly have a good run game right now. And unless Nick Chubb has some injury issues, which didn't he tear his ACL at Georgia? I think he did. So, you can never take that out of the equation. But, assuming the Browns' rushing offense stays good these next 2 years, is Baker good enough to lead them to a championship? Rush should win MVP. Russ is the most valuable player to his team. Although I think Mahomes has been the better quarterback this year, and in general, I think Mahomes is a little bit better. But without Russ, Seattle would suck. Without Mahomes, if you place an average quarterback in Kansas City, the Chiefs are still a good team. If you place an average quarterback in Seattle, yikes. That's all I'm going to say, yikes. I know they have good receivers on that team. DK Metcalf, we know, is a beast. Tyler Lockett is very good. But with how bad their defense is, if you put an average quarterback in Seattle, they are instantly the worst team in that division. And I don't think it's very close. Thompson, Wiggins, Alexander, Boucher, Murray are all other Canadians. I mean, there are plenty of Canadians, plenty of good Canadians in the NBA. Baker isn't the type of quarterback that'll win you games if he throws 30 to 40 passes. That's true. I mean, Baker could end up being a really good game manager. I mean, Jared Goff made a Super Bowl a couple years ago. Now, Jared Goff was really good that season. Better than I think Baker Mayfield has ever been. But do the Browns believe Baker can lead that team to a Super Bowl? Whether they think he has to be really good or whether they think he can do it as a game manager. I would have to assume they would pick up his fifth-year option unless something totally changes within these next 5 games. Did you know Freddie Freeman is part... I did not know Freddie Freeman was Canadian. And he was arguably the best hitter in baseball last year. Weren't the Saints just in a formation to go for it, and after the 2-minute warning, they're kicking a field goal? Why would they kick a field goal here? It doesn't make sense. You're that close to a first down marker. You're down by 14 in a playoff game. I would have gone for it. But Madden's going to Madden. You never know with this game. You really never know. I think Baker needs a good defense and a decent run game. I mean, obviously they have a run game. Defense, that team is just too inconsistent. They have played a little bit better recently, and personally, I believe the best defenses are built by strong pass rushes, and I don't know if there's a player on the defensive side of the ball that I'd rather on my team in the next 5 years than Myles Garrett. So you got that going for him. The linebacking core obviously is very shaky, and the secondary, I mean, there are some pieces. Got to see what Grant Delpit is next year. But do you want to pay Denzel Ward? That's another question. And how much would he get paid? Mom was Canadian. His mom died, so I think he became a Canadian citizen. Huh, I never knew that. The more you learn. Look at JK, so inspirational. Not much after that, nope. I mean, I would have to imagine you guys are probably going to go defense heavy in the offseason. Good year to need a linebacker. The draft class is fairly deep, I would say. Panthers have all 3 timeouts, by the way. They have a legit shot at making this a 3-score game before halftime. There's a part of me that really wants to change the sliders, because there would certainly be moves to the sliders I make right now, but I don't want to change them in the middle of the wild card round because all of the games have to be consistent. That wouldn't be fair to like switch sliders in between games. I wonder if Odell's going to be the same next year. Was it an ACL or an Achilles? I think it was an ACL. ACL is better than Achilles. Achilles is rough. Denzel Ward should absolutely... I mean, he's going to get paid. But the question is, I mean, the Browns have to... They're paying Garrett a lot. They're probably going to pay Nick Chubb. Guys like Odell, Jarvis Landry, they're making plenty of money. So the question is to the Browns pay Ward. He's going to get a handsome payday from somewhere, and he certainly deserves it. He's a great player.
Mayfield's pass complete to Mike Gesicki.
Are they going to call time here? I think they... I guess not. Okay, so they can run a play and call a timeout here. Devin Duvernay, nice amount of yards, by the way. 69. Okay, you have 8 seconds. They're going to go for a field goal here, and they absolutely should not. Oh, they don't. Good for Madden, making the smart decision. Because they still have a timeout. As long as this play does not take 8 seconds, which it shouldn't. And it might... Okay, it doesn't. They call time with 1. Don't know what you're doing in the draft. I mean, we have to see what the draft class looks like. I imagine FG is almost done. And when it is done, I will show it. And scouting is going to be a lot different this year. Good first half for Carolina. They had a comfortable 17, I cannot speak, to 3 lead. The Saints do start the ball. Saints have to score on this drive, or else they could be in trouble. 8 rushing yards, dear God. That's rough. That is rough.
Greg Zuerlein set to kick off.
What can the Saints do here?
The Saints take over.
Will they run for more than 8 yards in this half? That's my question. Flying start here for the Saints rushing offense. I mean, it's not easy when you have to face a defensive line that has Aaron Donald and J.J. Watt, especially with future Lion Richard Sherman in the secondary. Yes, I said it. Richard Sherman was praising the Niners defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, and there's a legit shot we get him as our head coach, and the more I think about it, the more I'm warming up to the idea of getting Saleh. Richard Sherman apparently, oh dear, it's a fumble. But apparently Sherman was considering the Lions and the Niners when he left Seattle a couple years ago. And the only reason he did not sign with us is because of the culture. Specifically, Matt Patricia. He did not like the Patriot way, and I don't blame him. So if we get Saleh, then Richard Sherman could follow. And I would not hate that. I mean, we have a lot of guys at corner, but we could use someone to teach Okuda and Oruwariye the ropes. I don't know, that's a pipe dream. If Carolina scores on this drive, I guess we start Simmons. And the question is, will the game crash? And if it does crash, we're going to have problems. With Chubb, you're 6-1, 199 rushing yards a game, 5.5 yards per rush, and 11 touchdowns. Without him, a lot worse. Exactly. That's the same thing that I saw. That tells me to believe that Nick Chubb is potentially worthy of MVP votes. Y'all could have had Sherman a few years ago. And if we did have Sherman, we probably don't sign Justin Coleman last year, which I think would be a good thing for us. We probably don't sign Desmond Trufant this year, which, again, I think would be a good thing for us. I think drafting O'Rourke and Okuda still could have been likely. So, not getting Sherman ended up very much backfiring. All because of Matty P. And Bob Quinn. Bob Quinn didn't help. But they're gone now. And now Matt Patricia has a burner on Twitter. And he responded to me, so now I feel special.
Mayfield's pass complete to J.K. Dobbins. A gain of 9 brings up 3rd and 1.
But I guess Matt Patricia has... I mean, Matt Patricia clearly has an ego. I guess he is that big of an ego to want to see what everybody says about him on the internet and respond to them as if it's not him. Oh, they didn't get it. I mean, not that it matters. They're still going to kick the field goal, and that'll I guess, have us start simming,
Greg Zerline
assuming they make it,
field goal.
which is a huge if.
25-yard attempt.
Okay, the question was if they block it or not, because knowing Madden, he's not going to miss the kick. So either it'd be blocked or it'd be good, and obviously it was good. So we'll start simming. If it gets close, we will hop back into the game. How bad is this Saints offense, dear God? Nice punt, though. I guess there's that. Baker sacked. Bad punt. Are they going to kick the field goal? They probably should. Okay, they do. Two-score game now, but we're not going to hop in. Carolina still has a convincing enough lead. What game are we watching next? The next game on the schedule is going to be Raiders-Dolphins, and then I'm thinking on Thursday we finish the wild card round with Texans-Chiefs and Niners-Bucks. Those are two really good games. Raiders-Dolphins is interesting too. So, I mean, we got lucky with good matchups. And the only matchup I was a little bit about was the Steamers and Cowboys, and obviously that game was really... Would you say it was a really good game? Because, I mean, it was long. It went and completed 2 full overtimes. But, I mean, that ending in the fourth quarter is pretty wild. But voted to watch all... No, I just asked to see what people wanted. And just based on my schedule, I figured it'd be easier to do 2 today and 2 on Thursday. But I do take this kind of stuff into consideration for the future, which kind of tells me that people want more games per stream, which could be something I implement in the future. So, me not necessarily doing that doesn't mean I don't care about the results. Oh, hey, Octi, what's good, Pro? Welcome. And welcome RSV as well. Your game will be, I guess, after this one. When you've been going through endless quarterbacks, head coaches, and GMs for 21 years, at some point you got to take what you can get. I mean, that's us, both Alpha quarterbacks, man. I mean, before Stafford, it was endless quarterbacks, yeah. Oh, what a punt! Down at the 3! Yeah, we can start to speed this up. Panthers are up by 21. Now 24. Yeah, this game is over. Which is why you can see them keeping Baker. But the thing is, it's not like this front office has been a Browns fan the past 20 years, so they don't really care what your past is. So if they don't believe Baker's a guy, they don't believe Baker's a guy. If they do believe he's a guy, then they will pay him accordingly. Don't know how hard the concept of winning is to your team. Well, I mean, considering you're the Chargers, I mean, it's not like the Chargers and winning really correlate. I mean, the sad thing is the Chargers are not that bad of a team in real life, but in their 3 wins, the best team they've beaten is the Bengals. And the Bengals right now are the 3rd worst team in the league. They've beaten the 3 worst teams in the league. But they're also not a bad team, which is strange. But, I mean, when they have a new coach next year, that team is going to be a legit playoff contender. Baker was good. Jimmy G was not. Saints could not run the ball at all. Panthers did pretty well. J.K. Dobbins had a good game. Devin Duvernay with a good performance. J.K. Dobbins had a big game of the year. You need to score points than the other team. I imagine Bieniemy is going to go to a team like the Chargers. Maybe not the Chargers, because, I mean, that's a division rival to the Chiefs. I don't know if he'd want to do that. But a team like the Chargers or the Texans or even the Jets, who have good young quarterbacks. This is obviously assuming that Trevor Lawrence is a Jet. Jacksonville as well, assuming that... Okay, hold on. Is the game going to crash? Madden, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. It didn't crash. It didn't crash, fellas. He's going to the Texans. I would not be surprised by that at all. I imagine Bieniemy would want to work with Deshaun Watson, and I don't blame him. I don't think we're getting Bieniemy, which I don't totally hate. I mean, I'd be happy with Bieniemy, but there are guys I prefer. You think Jets go college? That wouldn't be surprising. I mean, I've kind of soured on Lincoln Riley a little bit this year. I think Urban Meyer could be an interesting wild card. Not that he's technically a college coach right now, but... Alright, the Dolphins are home, so I guess the Raiders are 1. And the Dolphins are 2. Can you pick a number between 1 and 2, please, Siri? So you're selected 2. That is the Dolphins. You think Dable to the Chargers? I would not mind Eberflus. I mean, he's not at the top of my list. But I wouldn't hate, especially if we hire Ed Dodds as GM from the Colts. I would not hate that. But, I mean, if Brian Dable is not on the Chargers and instead with us, I would prefer that. Jets go Harbaugh or Campbell. If they go Harbaugh, yikes. I mean, Matt Campbell has certainly proven himself at Iowa State as of recently. So, that'd be an interesting get. Is there any specific jersey combos you would like RSV, or do you want the regular home jerseys? Chargers do have some draft picks, unlike Houston. I mean, Deshaun Watson's a little bit more enticing than Justin Herbert. Herbert's great, but if I'm a guy like Bieniemy, I would rather work with Deshaun Watson, although the Chargers have a better roster and the Chargers have more picks. All white, regular, so I guess the regular away jerseys. Lions could go Harbaugh, that's not a joke. I know we could. I think there's a legit shot we do, which I hope not. But that's a legit possibility, I agree. 3 superstars for both teams, Von Miller, Joey Bosa, and Riley Painter, the quarterback in his first playoff game for the Raiders. Angry Beaver, one of the FG's memes, along with Allen Robinson and Za'Darius Smith. But out of all the guys we could realistically get, I just don't want Harbaugh. Daboll, Bieniemy, Saleh, Eberflus. Heck, even Joe Brady I'd be cool with. So, there are a number of guys I want. Harbaugh is at the top of the list for not wanting. I know a lot of people are going to say Josh McDaniels. We're not getting Josh McDaniels. That's just not going to happen. The team saw that the Patriot way does not work, so they're not going to try it again. But Jim Harbaugh is a legit possibility, which... I mean, Jim Harbaugh was good in San Francisco. He was a quality coach there. He only was there for like 3 or 4 years. He made a Super Bowl. I think he made multiple NFC championships, so it's not like he was bad in the NFL. Maybe he's just a better NFL coach than he was at Michigan. I mean, Michigan never had that quarterback. Part of that's Harbaugh's fault for not improving the team. Harbaugh's best when he has a good quarterback. Ryan Day to the Lions. I mean, I can't see Ryan Day leaving Ohio State. I can't see it. Freddie Kitchens to Detroit, Lord, no. That would suck. That would be worse than Harbaugh. And I obviously don't want Harbaugh. Go football team. Well, there are 2 football teams. So, a football team will win today. A football team will also lose today. So if New England already winning, if the Dolphins win... Okay, so I guess whoever this team plays is dependent on who wins the next game between the Chiefs and the Texans. Okay, because that's the 7-2 game. So we don't know the next matchup regardless of who wins today. Cole McDonald starting at quarterback for the Raiders. I don't think we've watched the Raiders yet. We have not seen Brandon Ayuk in a watch game until now. Ayuk has put up the most ridiculous numbers this year for the Raiders. I did not even know they had Allen Robinson, to be honest. So that, I mean, that's a pretty solid receiving core. One person here is going to have to go through the pain you felt with Kitchens, because it is not fun. I mean, Matt Patricia's not much better, and we had Patricia for 2.5 years. You guys had Kitchens for 1 year. So, I'd rather 1 year of Kitchens than 2.5 years of Patricia. Hi, your leg hurts like a lot. Well, that's not pleasant. I hope your leg is well good, Chief. What's good, Lucario? Good timing, because your game just started a minute ago. So that's like perfect timing. I say your game, and obviously Lucario isn't technically the coach anymore, but I guess until he gets drafted, this is still technically his team. Indirectly, so we'll just say this is his team. No Limit Drove. What is the difference between a fat lady and a baseball player? I don't know, and I'm a little bit scared by what you mean by no limit. This will be your team till the day you... This OFL team or the real Raiders? Because there's a difference. One can run. Okay. I guess it could have been worse. I mean, not that.
He was taken down at the 50-yard line. A gain of 4 yards. First down, Las Vegas.
Who is number 30? And O.C. Bush is 41. Carlos Hyde. Carlos Hyde is like the most randomly good running back in the NFL. I mean, he's like a journeyman. He switches teams every year, but he still finds a way into the lineup and is still a fairly solid player. Can someone fill you in? Oh dear, Von Miller's hurt. All right, is he going to the locker room? That's the question. I'll get back to the chat in a second. Is Von Miller going to the locker room? If he is, that's not good news for the Dolphins. He is on the sideline, so this means he's probably fine. But the Panthers beat the Saints 30-6, and it did not crash this time, which is impressive. But the Panthers were far and away the better team. J.K. Dobbins was kind of a monster as the Dolphins stop him. What do the Raiders do here? They could go for a 60-yard kick. They could punt or they could go for it. They could literally do any of those things. They probably shouldn't go for the field goal. I think they're going to punt it. They're going to go for... This is the one thing they shouldn't do. Go for it, that's fine. Punt it, that's fine. But one thing they should not do right now is kick the field goal. And he almost made that. That was closer than I thought. Freddie Kitchens, that's the joke. Hilarious. I'm dying of laughter. But whoever made that decision for the Raiders should not be making any more decisions tonight. That was a bad call. Dolphins have the football. Riley Painter's first of probably many playoff games and playoff drives. Painter was not statistically as good as some of the other rookie quarterbacks this year, but I mean, we know he is a generational prospect that should not have fallen to the fifth pick. I see Kitchens is filled in as the Raiders head coach. What was that play last year against New England? Like, was it 4th and 9 and they just ran it up the middle? Was that weird 4th down call that Kitchens had that made everybody realize, yeah, this guy sucks? Was that the play? Where is Jameson Tyone's favorite place to be? I don't know, the injured list? That was against the Rams? Why did I think it was against New England? Dolphins are moving the ball fairly nicely so far. They have it at 22 now. Week 3, 4th and 9 for Rams 45. He ran a halfback draw. That was week 3. I feel like that was later. For hospital again. I knew it was going to be a Tommy John joke. Once you mentioned Jameson Tyone, all I'm thinking is, boom, it's got to be a Tommy John joke. Who would I rather as my head coach, Freddie Kitchens or Matt Patricia? I would rather Freddie Kitchens because we know Patricia sucks him. I'm not saying that Kitchens is a better coach than Matt Patricia, but... And if you're the Browns, your answer would be Matt Patricia because you know Kitchens sucks him. But who would you rather use? I mean, at least, I don't know what the culture was like there with Kitchens. I can't imagine it was great, considering he was fired right away. But it can't really be any worse than what Patricia brought. So, would you rather keep Patricia for 3 more years or hire Gase? I think the question would be, how long would we have to keep Gase? Because I would say Patricia is probably a tiny bit better. I mean, at least Adam Gase has made the playoffs. Not that he was a good coach with the Dolphins, but I mean, if it's 1 year of Gase or 3 years of Patricia, I'm picking Gase. But if it's Adam Gase and a bad GM who chooses not to fire his coaches and is lazy about that, I would pick the 3 years of Patricia. 3 seasons, so 3 years of Patricia or 3 years of Gase? Oh, dear. I would probably say 3 years at Patricia. But that's hard. That is really hard. Panthers are 3-0. Oh, wow. That's impressive. My choice would be a new team. That's probably the right choice. Do you like head-scratching play calls? And you will like Freddie Kitchens. Yep. What did Jordan say to Isaiah Thomas? I don't know. Which Isaiah Thomas? The Pistons Isaiah Thomas or the short Isaiah Thomas? If it's the Pistons Isaiah Thomas, then I don't know. Michael Jordan would say, I don't like you. Because those two weren't buddies. What if there was a team with, like, Adam Gase is the head coach, Freddie Kitchens calling the plays, and Matt Patricia is the defensive coordinator? Imagine if that was a real team. That would I would tune in to watch 16 games a year of that team, because that would be entertaining. They'd probably lose by 50 every week, and the culture would be non-existent. Or OFL is it that too? Beep you beep. I don't get it. And Bill O'Brien is the GM. Yes. Yes. Kitchens is head coach. Gase is offensive coordinator. It doesn't matter who you have calling the plays on offense, Gase or Kitchens, because either way, it would just be rough regardless. I mean, Adam Gase has kind of ruined Sam Darnold. At least Kitchens didn't totally ruin Baker. I mean, Baker's best year was his rookie year, so I guess you could argue that Baker hasn't gotten better since they hired Kitchens. But regardless, I mean, yikes. And speaking of yikes, Raiders have a pick by Jalen Mills, who is also strangely good in this league.
They'll take over 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line.
But I'd like to see a team with Bill O'Brien as a GM, those three guys as your coaches and coordinators, and go 5 years into the future and see how bad that team is. Like, they may win a couple games early on, but with Bill O'Brien trading the whole roster away, having no chemistry, having no culture, I would like to see how bad that team would be 5 years into the future.
Touchdown, Raiders.
Looked like the Dolphins were in the driver's seat throughout the entire game, but the Raiders are now winning. Interception, quick drive. I think the Raiders are probably the biggest underdogs out of everybody in this playoffs, even though they have played really well the past, like, second half of the year pretty much. But I mean, the Raiders are heavy underdogs in this. I think for the OFL book betting, I think I gave the Dolphins more bucks than anybody this week. Dan Snyder is owner. Yes, that's exactly what we need.
The Dolphins take over 1st and 10 at their own 23-yard line.
Heck, give me Dan Snyder and Bruce Allen as a package deal. That would be something. I'd like to see those guys on, like, a really bad team, and I'd also like to see them on a team like the Chiefs, and see how much, like, bad ownership, bad front office, and bad coaching can destroy a team like the Chiefs. That would be really interesting. And Mark Andrews is hurt, so it's been a rough past, like, 3 minutes for the Dolphins. Losing their best offensive weapon and obviously allowing the touchdown. How does Adam Gase have a job? I have no clue. When the Jets hired him originally, it made no sense, considering he just got fired from the Dolphins and was not a very good coach there. So I don't know what the Jets saw that said, yeah, we're going to sign this guy. What do Yankees fans do in the bathroom? Go in the toilet stalls and watch LeBron highlights because they're probably LeBron fans. In their Tom Brady jerseys. Can I have that group owner take charge of the Steelers or Ravens? They would never destroy the Steelers because the Steelers are just so lucky. I mean, then again, part of that is because they always have stable head coaching and stable culture. I mean, if you keep Adam Gase as the head coach for 5 years, the coaching would be stable. It just wouldn't be good. It's the Jets. What are you going to do? I mean, on the bright side, the Jets only have 5 more games with Adam Gase, and they're not going to fire him in season because, I mean, if they did, that would hurt the tank. So, 5 more games of Gase, and then Trevor Lawrence is all yours. And Trevor Lawrence is not going to stay in college to opt out of the Jets. I'm just going to say that right now. That's not, unless they keep Adam. If they keep Adam Gase, then Trevor can do whatever he wants. But considering they're not going to do that, Trevor is not sticking around. No, he's going to happily join the New York Jets and be their quarterback going forward. Throw beer cans at the other team's fans. I mean, couldn't they do that, like, out of the bathroom, too? That doesn't make sense. What do Yankees fans do to other fans? Be pests. And bandwagons. He may not return to school, but T-Law can hold out Eli Manning style. I don't think he will. I mean, he could if he wanted to, hypothetically. But I would rather go to the Jets than a team like Washington. I mean, Dwayne Haskins might not be any good, but we saw how they gave up on him. If I'm a quarterback, I would way rather go to the Jets. Not that the Jets are a good organization, but we got to see who they hire as their coach. And I'd rather go to most teams over the Jets, but if I had my choice, if I was a quarterback, and I got to pick, if I was going to the Jets or Washington, I would pick the Jets in a heartbeat. '19 ALC. Well, that was against the Astros. Astros fans deserve it. Or at least the stubborn ones. A lot of punts. Ever since the Raiders scored that touchdown. Nevin Lawson is on the Raiders here too? Lucario, you never bothered to cut Nevin Lawson? That's funny. Dear God, that guy sucks. Lion legend Nevin Lawson. What a guy. What do the Phillies bullpen and Japan have in common? Well, Japan doesn't choke. The Phillies bullpen chokes. Does Japan suck? No, I wouldn't say Japan sucks, unlike the Phillies bullpen. Cut him in the off. I'll cut him right now if you want. I know I'm not the coach of this team, but it's Nevin Lawson. Could have Sendejo on your team. Could have Sendejo starting on your team. That's sad. Isn't Ronnie Harris? I saw today that Ronnie Harrison's on IR, so that makes things better for the Brown safeties. They both got bombed. Oh dear. That's I guess you can say that's true. The Dolphins have 45 yards of offense. The Raiders have 93 yards of offense. Ouch. Who starts? I think the Raiders start the ball. I could be wrong. Why can't you have Redwine start over him? That's a good question. I don't know if Redwine's any good in the NFL, but he's probably an upgrade there. Oh, the Dolphins have the ball for. I thought Las Vegas did for some reason. Oh well. I guess that's good news for Painter and company, who has not looked all that impressive in his first half, in his first playoff game, but he has another half to go. And he's only, what, 21? 22?
A gain of a yard brings up 2nd and 9 at the 26-yard line. quarterback taken down
Jerron Reed with the sack.
by Jared Reed. A 7-yard
Yeah, this
loss
Dolphins offense
brings
has
up
not
third
been
down.
pretty today. Painter is sacked again, and he is injured. Oh dear, who is the Dolphins' backup? I feel like it's Case Keenum? But this is not good news. Is he going to the locker room? No, so this means he's probably fine as well.
Tress Way in punt formation.
Not that Painter's played well today, but I am picking Painter over anybody on the Dolphins roster at quarterback with ease. So they need him back, and based on that animation, he probably will be back, which is good news for him. What do Detroit teams do? Suck?
The Raiders take over 1st and 10 at the Dolphins' 46
Not win? Have no direction? Well, now it seems like most of them do. I mean, I'm not a Red Wings fan, so I can't really talk about them. But the Pistons have the direction finally. The Tigers started their rebuild a couple years ago, and it looks like the Lions might be entering a rebuild. So, at least we can say we're not all mediocre anymore. Now we can just say that we all suck. Choke? How can we choke if we don't play big games?
Complete to Allen Robinson.
I mean, the Tigers have choked within the past decade
On the play.
in playoff games and playoff series, but...
First down.
And I guess the Lions were in that one playoff game against Dallas. We were up by, like, what, 10? With, like, 5 minutes left, and we lost. Pistons have just sucked the past, like, 12 years, so they don't count. Red Wings suck even worse. It seems like they have a nice rebuild going, though. Not that I know a whole lot about hockey, but
Number 41, the ball
lose to Cleveland every... Well, the Lions don't play Cleveland every year, so that's physically impossible.
A gain of 9 brings up 2nd.
The Tigers, yeah, I mean, Tigers always lose to Cleveland. And then the Pistons and the Cavs are arguably the two worst teams in the NBA right now.
To Brandon.
I wouldn't say we're one of the two worst teams. I think we're better. Not that we're any good, but I don't think the Pistons are the worst. What is Atlanta tradition? To choke. What do New York teams do? Pretend to be big market teams even though they're not. Well, not. I guess the Yankees are big market, but I mean the Mets pretend to. Now they are an actual big market team with Steve Cohen. The Giants kind of pretend to. I mean they haven't been relevant in the past 10 years since they won their ring. The Knicks, obviously, I mean they pretend to be a big market team, but they just get 7 power forwards per offseason and think that Julius Randle can lead them to the promised land. I feel like the Raiders have barely had the ball today. Cole McDonald's thrown it, like, not a lot. 14? I feel like it's less than 14 times. The Raiders, when they've had the ball, they've focused on running it. Looks like Ayuk has 4 catches for 54 yards. In a watch game, that's pretty good numbers for this point in the game. So it looks like Brandon Ayuk is just really good in sim and in watch. Also, the Knicks makes all of their picks bust. I mean, most of their picks recently are busts. Jury's still out on RJ and obviously Obi Toppin, who hasn't played a game, but Kevin Knox is a bust. Frank Ntilikina is a bust. Who did they pick in 2016? I don't remember. Whoever that was is probably a bust. I mean, in the early part of the decade, the Knicks were a competitive playoff team with Carmelo and Stoudemire. Now they just suck. And have probably the worst owner in sports.
First and 10 at the 41-yard line.
What do Curry and the U.S. Army have in common? They're both good shooters. Uh-oh, Case Keenum is actually still in the game. The Painter injury was not that recent anymore. So he might be out of the game. Oh dear, what happened to Painter? Abdominal strain, he will return. Okay. It says 2 quarters, so it's not a sure thing he comes back. Yankees good, but their fans continue to live in the past. That's true. Mets are the Mets. Jets are the Jets. Knicks. James Dolan. Giants suck. Outside of the Yankees, of the other 4 teams you said, the Mets, the Jets, the Giants, and the Knicks, which is the best organization of that group? Definitely not the Knicks. Of the Giants, the Jets, and the Mets, who is the best organization? Not counting Steve Cohen. So before Steve Cohen was hired as the owner, and the Mets are Lowell Mets. So Lowell Mets, the Jets, or the Giants. I feel like the easy answer here is the Giants, but it's not the Jets either. The Mets or the Giants? Who's better? That's tough. That is really tough. Is it bad that I think of those 4, not even counting Steve Cohen, that the Mets are the best in that group? The Mets or the Giants? I would probably say the Mets, even without Steve Cohen, but they're still the Lowell Mets. And it's still sad that Steve Cohen's their owner, so now we can't make fun of him. Because they're probably going to sign JT Realmuto, they're probably going to sign some other big name, and they'll trade for Francisco Lindor or Nolan Arenado or Trevor Story or somebody like that. I mean, Trevor Story isn't in the same breath as those first 2, but you get the point. One imposter in this group, a bunch of hockey teams. I'm not going to act like I know the history of these hockey teams. The Canadians have a good, past, right? Aren't they the Habs? Alright, the Canadians are my guess. I don't know. Lowell Mets versus Lowell Jets. I don't think anyone's ever said Lowell Jets. But, I mean, it fits.
McDonald's pass. Complete to number 41. It's a pickup of 6. Brings up 2nd and 4 at the 35-yard line. Number 41, the ball carrier.
The Sharks? Oh, I get it. All those teams are from Canada. Huh. And the Sharks are not. Unless San Jose is secretly in Canada and we just don't know that. Which is obviously not the case. Didn't the Sharks win the Stanley Cup fairly recently? I know they were in one. I don't know if they won it or not. Thought you were talking about the Team 6. I thought so too. And, I mean, obviously, I don't know that much about hockey teams, so I'm not going to act like I know the answer. Every quarter, somebody has scored, but only 1 score per quarter. Raiders are up 10-3. Can they hold on and get the upset? You are going to sleep? Well, have a good sleep, I guess, my guy. You guys are 1 hour ahead, right? So that would be 7:43. That's early.
McDonald's pass. Complete to Allen Robinson.
I don't know how early Canadians go to bed, because I'm not Canadian, but I guess Canadian people are built different. Dolphins defense could use a turnover right about now. Wow, every quarter has been scoring. Sounds like a high-scoring game. Yeah, I really think switching to arcade at the end of the season is probably the best move. It's too late in the season to do it now, but when we reach the off-season and go into next year, I think arcade is probably the way to go. We've had a bunch of close games with this, but it's just maybe part of it's probably the quarter length being at 8 minutes, so I should expect more low-scoring games, but even so, we've had 1 touchdown today in about 20 minutes of game. He said, "Go Raiders." How about them Raiders? Raiders are about to punch it in, make it a 2-score lead. That is exactly what they do. A touchdown for Vegas. They are now up 17-3. Is it possible we test out arcade in the preseason? That's not a bad idea. Because I don't know what sliders to use with arcade. So that could be something we do. Because the sliders I cannot imagine are going to be the same. And to know what to expect, yeah. I mean, we're going to see a lot more bigger plays, which is what I think we need. Because there's definitely a lack of big plays in watch games, which is annoying. When is Gonzaga? I think they're playing this weekend. I think Saturday. That's number 1 versus number 2. That's fun. I mean, Baylor's really good, but Gonzaga feels like the clear best team in the nation. I mean, just the way they beat us the other day. I mean, we're obviously a very good team, but when the number 1 team in the country is on their A game and not missing shots and having an elite freshman with a bunch of other really good experienced players, Gonzaga looks like the easy title favorites right now. Your offense is about to be overpowered. I think Mahomes is going to be extra good in arcade since he can yeet it. Hopefully we have more yeets. We barely have had any yeets in watch games this year. Even last year in simulation, there were way more. Part of it could just be not finding a good slider set, but I've made like drastic changes to the sliders from the beginning of the season, and the games are not all that much different. Riley Painter's number 5, right? I don't know. I don't know jersey numbers off the top of my head. No, that does not look like Painter. And it is Case. So Keenum is still in the game. Does Riley Painter return? It's Jalen. Yes, it is Jalen Suggs, the point guard, who absolutely torched our defense on national television. I would imagine more people were watching the Lions get blown out that day, but I mean, Jalen Green was No, not Jalen Green. Jalen Suggs was absolutely ridiculous in that game. And they have a bunch of other guys: Drew Timme, Corey Kispert. That team is loaded, as they usually are, but they're like extra loaded. I think Suggs is probably the best freshman they've ever gotten. During the Gonzaga game last week against us, one of the commentators said their only McDonald's All-Americans were Zach Collins, which I never realized Zach Collins was that good in high school, but I guess he was, and Jalen Suggs. Fumble picked up by the Raiders, and it looks like this game is pretty much over, bearing a miracle. I did not expect the Raiders to win today, but here we are. Imagine picking Gonzaga over Ohio. Gonzaga would kill Ohio State, as they would kill most teams. They wouldn't kill Ohio State as much as they'd kill the Cupcakes, but I mean, Gonzaga right now is the best team in the country. Granted, we've only had 1 week of season, but right now I think that honor belongs to Gonzaga at the moment. Raiders just got to choose some clock, kick the field goal, and then they will be moving on. Von Miller with a big sack, though. According to ESPN, there's like a 68% chance we win tonight. That is way too high. We deserve to be favored, but there is not a 68% chance we beat Kentucky tonight. That is generous to us. Wow, that could knock them out of field goal range. That's gigantic. Octi, it was a joke. I don't care. I will take your joke seriously and ruin them. Watch Gonzaga beat Baylor by 20 and then lose to Tarleton. Is that a real team? Tarleton State. I've never heard of them in my life. 2-minute warning. The Raiders could legit miss this kick. That sack is kind of big. I mean, it's still a 14-point lead for them, but that is a big deal. That's who they play after Baylor. I've never heard of that school in my life. Oh, he made it anyway. Oh, he missed it. It looked like it had the distance. I guess it wasn't accurate. Huh. It looked like it was in. Yeah, that's certainly at the distance, but I guess it was not accurate, and the Dolphins survive a little bit longer. Case Keenum remains in the football game. Dolphins have 3 timeouts. They could not use him on this drive. They have to move quick. Gotta have quick plays out of bounds. We know clock management sucks in this game. And clock management especially hates the Dolphins based on last year in OFL 20.
That's good for a Miami Dolphin.
Yeah, if this was a smart game, the player would have ran out of bounds, but he didn't. And that will take an extra 10 seconds off the clock.
Brings up 2nd and a yard.
Case is going to run with it. Case has to go out of bounds here. Is he going to do it? Oh, he does. And that was a really good run, too. As Robert Hunt is hurt. All the injuries today feel like they've gone to the Dolphins. Von Miller was hurt. Mark Andrews was hurt. Riley Painter is hurt. And now Robert Hunt. So the Dolphins have gotten unlucky with the injury bug. I mean, Andrews and Von Miller are back, but they've still gotten super unlucky. Under a minute, they ran out of bounds again. They are actually going out of bounds. Biggest injury of the day for Robert Hunt's a solid starter. I mean, he's not as big as those other 3 players, but Case throws it away. It's not over yet. I mean, the Raiders are certainly in a good position to win. But the Dolphins are not quite done. It's unlikely the Dolphins win, but they still have a shot. And now that shot is gone. Raiders with an It's Chidobe! Chidobe Awuzie! The GOAT! And now it's officially over. The Raiders have won. We can send out the ending. We don't have to see them kneeling it. Actually, they're probably still going to run the ball, and the Dolphins are going to call time. Is that a first down? No, it's not. 3rd and 1. Okay, now it's game. The Raiders upset the Dolphins. I did not see this one coming. So Las Vegas moves on to play either New England, the Cougars. Both games would be on the road. Olamide Zacchaeus. That's a cool name, but Chidobe Awuzie is a better name. The Dolphins' offense was just plain old not good today. 3 points and 3 turnovers for Miami. Riley Painter getting hurt did not help things, but Painter was not very impressive. Throws it into the double. I mean, at this point in the game, Case Keenum was playing hero ball, so you can't really blame him. 33.9 passer rating for Painter in his first playoff game. Keenum was solid. Cole McDonald did what he had to do. He didn't have a big game, but he wasn't bad. Seabush scores twice. Kenyon Drake was okay. Ethan the Chad for the Dolphins. And once again, even though the Dolphins still beat New England in the division, New England still finds a way to get the upper hand somehow. A lot of sacks today. The defensive tackles were really good. Mo Hurst with 2, Jerron Reed 1.5, Javon Hargrave with 1.5, Jerry Tillery with 1. Did Joey Bosa do anything today? I don't think I said his name once. 2 tackles. And he's like their best player who did not get injured today. Chidobe Awuzie, Jalen Mills with picks, and there was a fumble too that like totally changed the swing of the game. Javon Hargrave forced it, Jenkins recovered it. Yeah, that fumble totally changed the game. All right, Will Madden crashed. Did not crash after the first game. Ooh, who won? The Raiders won 17-3. This is probably good news for the Cougars. I would rather play the Raiders than the Dolphins. So now the Raiders are probably rooting for Houston. So Houston would play New England. And they can have the Raiders. Alright, 4 games down, 2 to go. I guess that will do it today. So, obviously, the other 2 games are force wins because the game crashed. Just know that Dallas beat the Steamers, the Patriots beat us, and then obviously the Saints, the Panthers and the Raiders won today. So the next stream, which I think will be on this Thursday, probably the 2 best games of the week. You could argue that on paper, the Patriots, Diablos, but Chiefs, Texans, Bucks, Niners. I know these are the 2 7-seed versus 2-seed games, but I think these are probably the 2 most interesting games of the week. So that should be very fun. On Thursday, we will conclude the wild card round. And could we get an updated playoff picture? We don't. So the Raiders and Pats are obviously moving on. The Panthers and Cowboys are moving on. So the 2 and 7 seed games determine who everybody else plays. If the Bucs win, they play Green Bay. If the Niners win, they play Carolina, and Dallas plays the Packers. And then in the AFC, if the Chiefs win, they play the Cougars, and the Raiders play New England. And if the Texans win, the Texans play New England, and the Raiders play Chicago. So certainly some interesting playoff games coming up. A little bit of a shorter stream than normal, but the game did not crash, surprisingly. Shout out to EA. Maybe it's the new patch. I don't think my PlayStation 4 downloaded the new patch, though, so it can't be that. Huh. I mean, I'm not going to complain that it didn't crash, but I don't know why it did last time and didn't here. But I hope everybody enjoyed. Next OFL stream will probably be on Thursday, and I will see you all then. Nice.